Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Stephen Krutzfeldt. I am actually a pre-sales engineer here with CDI, and today I'm going to be taking you through the webinar on the Laserfiche Cloud. If at any point you have any questions about what we're going over, feel free to post it into the questions box on the little floating GoToMeeting window. I'll have time at the end of the webinar to address any questions you might have at that time. Today's topic, as I mentioned, is going to be the Laserfiche Cloud. I would say the intended audience for this webinar is, I said beginners to Laserfiche, administrators, but honestly, anyone who's just interested in seeing what the Laserfiche Cloud is all about, what it looks like, what it can do. This is really aimed at everyone at this point. For a quick agenda, we're going to be talking about how to log into the cloud. We're going to go through different features and functions that are baked in, and we'll do a quick tour of what the Laserfiche Cloud is like. For those of you who this is a completely foreign concept and brand new, the Laserfiche Cloud is an online document management system that allows users to upload, view, and work with their content using the web all the way through. So everything here is hosted elsewhere. It's actually hosted on Amazon Web Services servers. So any place where you have a internet connection, whether that be a computer or tablet, cell phone, the Laserfiche Cloud is always available there. Now, those of you who are familiar with my presentations know that I'm not big on PowerPoint, so I'd rather get into it. So let's do that. Now, I'm already logged in here, but the way I logged in was simply going to the Laserfiche Cloud website. It's just signin.laserfiche.com. It can be accessed anywhere. It'll prompt you for a account number that is specific to your organization, and then you can use your username and password to log in. And as I mentioned, that is available anywhere you have an internet connection, so kind of slick that way. First thing you'll notice here is if you're familiar with Laserfiche and you've been using Laserfiche on-premise, this isn't something that is native to the on-premise option. This is a dashboard specifically for the cloud. It's designed to be kind of a landing page so you can manage any tasks that might be assigned to you can be up here. I don't actually use this, which is why you're seeing a lot of blank screens here. But you have the quick search for the documents here. So if you want to search your repository from your dashboard, you don't have to navigate back and forth. It's going to save all of your starred documents, meaning that if you have a document that you're actually working on currently, you can keep that and have it kind of in a holster here. As you can see, my recent documents are down here as well. High priority tasks versus active tasks. It's designed to just kind of give you a quick link of kind of a catch-all where you can log in and see all of, kind of start to manage your day a little bit. And a lot of different software companies are kind of moving toward that format. Laserfiche is just another one of them. One thing else that's kind of slick down here is it has a quick link to the different videos, Laserfiche Answers, and the Laserfiche Help page. And these are all websites that I keep pinned on my taskbar, so it's not really that valuable to anybody who's familiar with these. But if you're someone who just needs to post a quick question to Laserfiche Answers, this will take you directly to that website. Laserfiche Answers, if you're not familiar, anytime you've had any problem with Laserfiche, if you just Google Laserfiche, how do I search using a wildcard, anything that you type in Google will likely route you to a Laserfiche Answers post. It's just an online community designed for different users to come together and collaborate, answer each other's questions, share content, etc. And the Laserfiche help page also, this is one that if you don't have it, if you are a Laserfiche user, if you don't have it saved already, this is one that I would also recommend having bookmarked. And there's a slide at the end that will have that listed. So that's one of the pieces that's a little bit different, a little bit unique to Laserfiche Cloud. We also have a quick different tabs here so you can look at some of your different documents. If you want to save a couple of documents toward the top that you're working on, you can drill down on just your tasks. It also has a quick way to generate some of those reports as well. I don't have any of these enabled, but if you are interested in looking at the different performance, how many documents are being uploaded, how many workflows are running, and things like that, all of this can be captured kind of from one location. So this way it gives you that extra level of visibility into the workload, into the performance of your Laserfiche environment. This is actually true for Laserfiche on-premise as well, that every task is tracked. And so the only difference is in Laserfiche on-premise, if you're looking for a workflow type of report, you go into workflow and then you generate the report from there. If you're interested in see what your forms reports look like, you go into forms and do that. So the only difference is they kind of centralize everything by bringing it into one location. And it also has a quick link to the different forms that are available. I've built a couple of examples out. So if I wanted to start my Laserfiche forms, you can start it here, and then it would route and be seen on that home page. So a little bit different there. On-premise, usually there's an email that goes out, so you click on that, and then it'll take you there. In this case, it just kind of routes to your home page. Now, once again, if you're familiar with Laserfiche on-premise, you're probably familiar with all of these different components separately. That you've got the admin console here, you've got workflow down here, you've got forms. Really the only difference in Laserfiche Cloud is they just brought it all into one location. This is also something that's very typical across multiple different software companies now, is having the little grid up here to choose from. So now you can grab and isolate your different applications based on what it is you want to work on. The number of these can be limited depending on which user is logged in also, that we take security into account as well. So forms will just take you to the forms dashboard that everyone's probably used to if you've used forms in the past. It'll give you the ability to design new forms, start a forms process. If you have different forms that have been routed to you and you want to go directly to that inbox, you can do that as well and see which specific tasks have been routed to you. So the forms is exactly as you would expect it to be. More commonly, and really the root, the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the Laserfiche Cloud is going to be the repository. And this whole cloud is actually just built around the Laserfiche web client. So if you've used the Laserfiche web client in the past, you'll recognize that the user interface is exactly the same. And so if you're familiar with that, everything is more or less exactly how you'd expect it there. So being able to navigate through your repository, see your different folders, see the different metadata and details about those, being able to preview the document if it does in fact have pages or what have you. You'll have the ability to go in and add different annotations, like highlighting, stamping, adding sticky notes. All of those different capabilities are still available in the Laserfiche Cloud. The only difference is you're navigating to it by selecting a different area from the grid. One thing that is a little bit different is the repository administration, or what you're probably more familiar with would be the admin console. It's more in a web type of format. So we have all the different information along the left-hand side here. You can see that it's just a basic overview. So if you want to start adding users or adding your groups, you can do that from here. You'll notice that there's a quick link here to start adding templates, fields, tags, and things like that. I do feel compelled to give you some other caveats that come along with this. Laserfiche Cloud is still kind of in its infancy. They're still working on developing and building out the entire roadmap. The way that software behaves when you have it downloaded on-premise is a little bit different when you're hosting it in the cloud, and so not all the capabilities translate perfectly. One of those examples is if you're looking to have templates that are dynamic. So if you select, someone's department and you want to list a drop-down list of different names for that department, the Laserfiche Cloud does not have that capability yet. It's on the roadmap, something they're working on building, but that's something that doesn't actually exist yet. There's a couple of limitations when you host in the cloud. Granted, there are some really good pieces of this as well. Having that access everywhere could definitely be a good reason to make the jump. But for the most part, we recommend that if anyone is using Laserfiche on-premise today, now is probably not the time to jump or make the shift to the cloud. However, if you do want to explore some of the options, CDI has their own hosting services where we can actually put your data into the cloud, so that way we add an extra level of security, but we don't sacrifice any of the capabilities and the customizations or configurations that you already have in place today. So just to be clear, CDI can put your Laserfiche service into our own personal cloud, but it wouldn't look like this. It would look exactly the same way it does today, just adding a different type of security level. If the cloud is something that you are interested in moving to, I would recommend us first doing sort of an audit, going through and making sure that everything that you have in place today does translate and can move over to the cloud. Because there are also a few limitations when it comes to the workflows as well. So I just want to get that out there. Want to make sure that you understand that there are some differences, and we'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have about that. But with that being said, we can go ahead and continue the tour. So templates and fields are relatively the same. You can go in here and create different templates. You can go ahead and see the different fields. Just like you have on premise, you're able to add the type if you want it to be text or list or a date type of field. It can support all of those different options. It can also continue to, you can limit some of the fields and visibility based on who the user is. So security is, of course, still a big part of this. Being able to limit who can add metadata and who can see different metadata fields, etc. One thing that's also unique is there are a few built-in integrations with other types of software. One of them, and probably the most common, is just Office 365. So being able to have an Outlook import, being able to monitor specific folders in your Outlook or in your email, and have those logged or saved to Laserfiche automatically is something that is available right out of the box with the Laserfiche Cloud. Laser App's another one, just being able to basically snapshot any document from that's within that location. This has a database of different types of documents that it can link to, and then basically use those and read some information there. DocuSign's a big one. We at CDI have our own DocuSign integration. This one's a little bit different from ours, but similar concept anyway. But being able to send documents directly from Laserfiche to a recipient to sign, and then importing it right back into Laserfiche. Know that even if you're not looking to move to the cloud, if that's something that sounds appealing, if you'd like to have that capability, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to have a conversation about how we can make that a reality for you guys. There's an integration with OneDrive as well as Google Drive. So being able to bring documents in or save documents directly to that, it's only an import service. So being able to import documents directly from OneDrive and Google Drive. Records management is also in scope here, that they did build in the records management capabilities. What that means if you don't have records management today, this is more so for usually with municipalities and other public types of groups. If you're looking to have specific cutoff dates where no one can go in and legally change a document because it's an official record, having disposition rules and regulations. So when can you destroy a document? Can a document never be destroyed? It needs to be ascended. Information like that. So we do have all of those capabilities baked into the cloud here as well. And I'm just kind of going through here. The Everyone group by default, you can manage. You can decide whether you want to track sticky notes, different sessions, things like that. All of it's pretty similar to what you would see in Laserfiche. One thing that's kind of interesting is account, and I won't spend too much time here. These are just our internal users. You'll probably recognize some of these if you've worked with our consulting team. All of them are in here. But being able to add users and then also license them, if you've ever used LFDS in the past to assign licenses and assign users and groups and things like that, one benefit here is all of that's actually managed right here from in the cloud. So rather than navigating to LFDS to do this and then jumping back in, everything's all in one location. So you can see which license is being active, and you can go in and change these as well. So if I want to go into my name, Stephen Krutzfeldt, we can see that I only belong to the Everyone group. If I want to change my password, I can do that here, and I have a full license assigned to me. If we want to update that, we can do some of that. Audit Trail is here. We also have the public portal designer, something that we offer. If you're not familiar, we do have the capability to give your users the ability to publish or show documents or make documents read only to public users. So they can log in from a portal from pretty much anywhere and view and browse documents. Oftentimes it's accessed from a homepage of just your organization or the city or municipality that you're a part of. So that way they can go in and rather than making a request for a public record or something like that, they can simply go through, browse by year, by group, by category, things like that. So the designer is baked in here as well. Something else I want to kind of look at, this is what they've been working on moving forward with. Not everything is 100% up to date yet. Let's go ahead and start with the integrations. So process automation in general is something that Laserfiche is working very hard toward doing. How can we make more things automated? There's been a lot of push toward robotic process automation and things like that. So they're continuing to work in that direction. One thing that we have set up is a basic Redtail integration. That's another out-of-the-box integration that exists. However, I do want to be clear that that is taking information from Laserfiche and pushing it to Redtail, not the other way around. It's only a unidirectional integration at this time. With the ability to set up different remote agents, things like that. If we go back here, we can see that bots is an option. We don't have a lot of experience working with this on our team yet, but it is something that I want you to be aware of that they're working toward. The basic concept here is that a bot would be able to take a repeated process that usually involves some sort of third-party application or another website, go to that website, scrape information, and then write it back or bring it into Laserfiche or somewhere else. I think the only example I've seen of this working is being able to grab a couple of different their price is currently at, and then write that back or bring that into like a report or something like that. So something that, once again, our team doesn't have a lot of experience with, but it's something that Laserfiche is definitely pushing toward, and I would recommend maybe going to their website and just Googling robotic process automation to kind of see what's new in that arena, because it is exciting stuff, but it's also, once again, very much in its infancy at this time. We also talk a lot about data management, rules, and things like that. Any of you who have worked with our consulting team knows how much we love working with SQL. We love setting up SQL tables so that way we can keep all of your data in one location and then query it and then automate some of your processes using that data. That's something that is a little bit trickier and not always possible in the Laserfiche Cloud, that having that link to SQL kind of goes away. We do have the ability to query different tables, but it's usually kind of a one-time query, and keeping things up to date is very difficult at this time. So I want you to be aware of that as well, that if the cloud is something that you're looking to move to, know that having that live data connected to like a SQL table or something like that may not be possible right out of the gate. It's something that's still kind of on the roadmap. But we do have the ability to set up different rules, reusable modules for one. So for example, we do have the ability to take an Excel doc, bring it into the cloud, query it, and then use that to write up or create your different folders, metadata, documents, run different rules and things like that. So the logic is there, the concept is possible, but keeping that information live and up to date is something that we're still working toward. Let's see, what else? I feel like a lot of it's in the process automation piece. This is where they're really pushing. Let's go ahead and look at the workflow piece, because the workflow is going to be pretty similar if you're familiar at all or you've worked with workflow in the past. A lot of the same activities are still available, but there are a few that have changed and a few that have been removed as well. One that we use fairly frequently is the Redtail integration, so I can use that as an example. You'll see here that we have the ability to create a Redtail contact with all of this different information, creating a Redtail account, adding the phone number and email and things like that. So pushing that information to Redtail, which is a CRM, for those of you who aren't familiar. I don't think there's one necessarily ready yet for Salesforce, but I may need to look into that. We're still kind of working toward how those integrations work. However, if you are using Dynamics or Salesforce or Seletica or Juncture, that is something that CDI has integrations for, all of them, and that's bi-directional, that we can take information from Selenica, from Juncture, and all of those and write it back to Laserfiche as if you're on premise, and then write it to take information from Laserfiche and write it to your CRM as well. So once again, if that's something that you're looking to explore, let us know and we'll let you know how that works. But we see over here on the left all the different workflow activities, many of which are still there. One that I have found that is missing that has caused some headaches for me personally, though, is the search option. That one of the things that we would typically do is search for a specific number of folders following very specific search syntax. That's something that is not yet available. We do have the find entries, so we can kind of get around it a little bit, but it's something that I do like to throw out there to let people know that just once again, another example of we're still working toward it. But running different rules, this is once again one of those examples of why it's kind of nice to have everything tied in together, that being able to start those rules that could maybe use a bot to go out, grab some information, or this can be used to query a different, like a table or an Excel doc or something like that, and then run the rule based on that. So that's how we would say, go out, query this information for each one, go ahead and create a folder for each. We do have the update Word document. This ties into the out-of-the-box integrations with Microsoft 365. However, what you will notice is that we don't have one for PDF yet. So if you want to update a Word doc and use that field merge or mail merge option, we can do it with Word, but there's no option to automatically fill out PDFs. Once again, I think it's on the roadmap, but we don't have a time frame of when we can expect that. But we do have the email option, and one thing that's new is the read barcode option as well. So if you're one of those organizations that puts barcodes to help separate different document sets, Workflow can now scan through a group of documents. When it finds a barcode, it can run a rule on that barcode and then go to the next and separate things that way. So that's kind of an exciting one. That's kind of cool. Otherwise, the rest of them are relatively, pretty much boilerplate, adding conditional decisions, assigning field values, moving documents, different locations, things like that. So a lot of it's here, but there are a few missing. Otherwise, business process, automation. Let's go back here one more time. One other thing that's kind of cool and kind of new and different, surveys as well as capture profiles. Surveys is kind of nice where if you're just using something like SurveyMonkey to send that out to everyone in your organization, this would take the place of that. So now you have the ability to go in and create new surveys with survey questions and send it out to a specific group that is tracked in Laserfiche, or you can send it out to the entire organization, and then have that come back and route it the same way that you would do with any of your forms processes. So surveys, that's a new feature, kind of a cool one. That's one that's actually not available yet in on-premise, so that's kind of a cool one. And lastly is capture profiles is designed to kind of take the place of quick fields. Quick fields is you're able to basically take a document and say, whenever you recognize that this document and these fields, we want you to automatically extract. I love to use invoices as an example. So if you see an invoice come in and you see invoice at the top, we want you to grab the invoice number, the date and the amount, and maybe the vendor. So that's what Quick Fields can do, and then automatically write that metadata. Capture Profiles is kind of doing the same thing, that they're working toward being able to identify a document and automatically isolate some of those different fields and write the metadata automatically without having someone to need to go in, open up the metadata and assign those fields manually. So already this exists in Quick Fields, but now they're changing the way that it's configured a little bit and trying to make it available in the cloud as well. I would still, this would be one of those times when I would say there's a caveat that Quick Fields is going to be the more dependable of the two, but it's working in the right direction. Now, with all that being said, I didn't want to get into too much detail of any of this today, but at least wanted to give you guys sort of a introduction to see what the cloud is like. Once again, I would recommend going to the Laserfiche Answers page, answers.laserfiche.com. Also the Solution Exchange. But if you start Googling Laserfiche Cloud, there's a lot of information out there about what's available, what's yet to come, what we're moving on. Also, if one of you have had a chance to go to Empower, the Laserfiche User Conference, they love showing off the new capabilities that are available and what's coming and things like that. If you are interested in learning more about how you can take your current environment with all of your configurations and everything that's customized to your organization and move that into our cloud, let us know. Email us at consulting@citiesdigital.com. And if the cloud is something that you think, you know what, this would be perfect for my team, let us know also, consulting@citiesdigital.com, and we'd love to have that conversation. Just to reiterate, I definitely recommend doing some sort of audit beforehand if you are a current Laserfiche user. That we've run into instances in the past where a lot of workflows basically won't work in the cloud. Usually it has to do with integrations and things like that that have been so highly customized that it's very difficult to make that move. So with that being said, definitely explore it and see if it's right for you. And at this time, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. Is there a full feature comparison chart available somewhere? I'm gonna have to take that down and get back to you. I feel like I've seen one, but I don't have one necessarily ready or know exactly where that's at. So I will take down your information and send that out to you and let you know what I find. Also, I think it's always kind of changing too, and so it's kind of hard to find that one that's current. But we'll see what we can come up with. Please note that this was recorded, and the recording will be available definitely by the end of the week, possibly even tomorrow. So if you do want to kind of go back and review some of the different options, just look and feel, it will be available. Also, if you would like to see a more in-depth look, or you want to see maybe a proof of concept or something like that, please reach out to our team. We'd be more than happy to provide a personalized demo for you and answer any questions that you may have then as well. This is designed to be more of we've had a lot of folks want to say that, oh, well, we keep hearing about this Laserfiche Cloud. What is it? What does it look like? And so this is kind of supposed to be that introduction to here's what to expect in the cloud. All right, well, if there are no other questions, please, once again, feel free to reach out. I do appreciate everyone's attention today. Hope you got something out of this. We look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to working with you. Thanks, everybody.